Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, welcome to this video, and I just have a little thing that I've been floating out there a little bit and I wanted to share it with you today. It's a start to finish make. I think you can just jump right in with everything you already have in your stash, but let's just make together and have some fun. Let's go. Okay, before we get started on making this little project I want to work on today, I want to share a couple things with you first. So ScrapbookCom recently had its weekend-long event called SBC Fest, and I love to take the makes that are on there and make them my own. So Adrienne Bosey, I think that's how you say her last name. I should know this. She's a fellow Coloradan. She made the most amazing mixed media tag, and I saw it and knew I wanted to replicate it. Okay, I cannot even begin to make it like she did. But I did make several of them, and you've seen this one. If you follow me on any of my socials, you've seen this one. I've recently done a blog post, as well as I've posted it a couple times on my Facebook page. And this was the first one I had done pretty much right out of what she had done. And again, you have to watch SBC Fest. I believe it was the first day to see how she went about hers. I learned a whole bunch, and I'm actually eager to go back and watch again and maybe see what I can layer on again of my own making. But kind of challenge myself to do and add a little bit more. This was the next one I made using the same formula that I created making this one. You can see how similar, but not similar. I did it one other time, but this time, like my preach goes, you know, not only is this a tag that we can put on a gift, these are going to be great for Mother's Day, but they would be great card fronts, and they would be really pretty on a scrapbook page. This is what I want to show you next. The scrapbook page that I did, the page in and of itself, the layout is very simple. I could probably add a title on here. I still could. I just haven't. I just kind of thought about that right now. I could probably do a little title here, maybe adding something here. So I made the tag, which I completely fell in love with. I completely fell in love with this tag. The only thing I changed up in my formula was I just used different floral pieces, which completely we can do. And we're going to use these today in our making, but it's the same idea. It's a tag. It's a little bit different size tag. That's the only difference in terms of the tag, because I wanted it to balance out this photo. And then I just made it particular to this, and I just happened to have this simple stories 12 by 12 paper that I trimmed down, and I'm like totally in love with this. It's open here on my workspace because I love it so much. Okay, I'm going to talk through the pieces that we use as I get to them. I'm going to go ahead and start with our base. And what I've done here is I've die cut a lot of things already. Die cutting kind of takes the longest part. So if you have a whole stash of die cuts, like this is one I keep pulling from for like my pink and peach make, definitely use those. I just wanted to show you how well this goes together, especially if you have die cuts already at the ready. So I took a little time when I prepped some die cuts. And the first thing I did was make my backgrounds. I am always using, you can make your own cards. If you can just hand do these. I cut these. Isn't that beautiful too? Yes, it is. But I want the polka dots. But squirrel. And you can make your own tags. I really like to use the ScrapbookCom's nested tags. There's a variety. I think there's like 11 different dies in that, of 11 different sizes of tags. So I went ahead and cut those out. This is color swatch teal. That's what this paper is from. Chose a rather less ornate pattern. This is just the mixed media paper. Okay, so then the next thing we need is part of our tags here is the rub-ons in the background, right? And the stencil. So let me see, where'd my stencil go? So I'm going to use the little box stencil, and the evergreen bow I think is going to go with this. Oh, that was my die that I used. And then here's the rub-ons that I'm going to add into this. I've already cut a bunch of, this is a Sizzix die, this postage die. Isn't that fantastic? This is what it looks like when you just cut out the whole thing and not trim anything up. I keep trimming pieces off. You can see like a little part here. And then I have these here that I'm going to probably maybe choose from. So I have those at the ready. I've done a bunch of the leaves. I took that from the ScrapbookCom's Market Bloom Floral. So I just cut a bunch of those. Tag background, check. Do I want to add some stenciling to this? I probably don't in this instance because like I already showed you, it already has a pattern. I don't really think I need any more pattern. Am I going to add some rub-ons to it? Yes, I am. So I'm going to grab here probably, I think I'm going to add a little bit of this lettering here and then also some of this floral. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out some of this. I don't think I want too much of this. Personal preference. Just depends how much of your own that you want. I love this butterfly. I need to be careful not to hurt that butterfly because I'm probably going to be grabbing it as well for something here. So, you know, we could also maybe title this video this week, An Excuse to Make Tags. An excuse to use rub-ons. I am guilty. I'm going to be really careful here adding this on because I have cut this whole thing out and I don't want it to stick to my background. I should probably have grabbed maybe parchment paper. You know, does parchment paper stick to... Does a rub-on stick to parchment paper? Wax paper probably would have been a really good idea. But see, it just comes off there real nice. And that's how pretty that is. So I have this piece now that's going to kind of talk to this side, right? So again, I really don't want a whole bunch. And I'm just going to kind of come down here a little bit. I'm not sure if I'm going to add too much of the flower at all. Maybe a little bit. Let's turn this around here. It'd be easier to get to it. I need to pay better attention to that. Okay, these rub-ons though, I will tell you, they seem to go on really, really well. There's just hardly any effort at all putting these on. All right, that's pretty. Okay, that's on. I have a little piece here. I might just throw that onto an art journal page. Let's see now. I think I will like to actually maybe, you know, we're going to add a little bit of that. So the beauty of these rub-ons, right, is just go and take what you want. And I just want some of this flower here. I don't think my other florals are going to clash with it. I don't think. So just kind of like that. Make sure I keep that on screen. And so I think part of what I really want to get excited about here is the beauty of repeating elements and just how lovely we can make another thing. Okay, we're just going to have to go ahead and cut this butterfly out. So I'm going to set him to the side. I'll get back to that in a second. Yeah, I just want that little bit of floral right here. I don't think it needs much at all. But the beauty of just repeating things, I think, and I feel like I kind of preach all the time. Remember when we would get kits and we would try to kill the kit? I guess that's kind of that. Do you see how pretty that is layered together? It's rather lovely. I'm loving this background being just that real subtle like pin dot. Super lovely, super lovely. Okay. So what's the next thing we need? Well, the next thing we need are the little postage stamp shapes, I guess we can call them. Now, if you have watched my embellished clusters series, that is another sort of kind of let's repeat these patterns on a page series that's on my channel. One of the things I really like to incorporate in that formula were tickets. And I find myself just collecting pattern paper that has tickets on them because it just works so well in these layers. That's kind of what this postage die is doing for me right now. It's become the ticket part. But this is much more simplified. This is way simplified than what I was doing previously. And you just got to kind of make a decision if you're using this kind of a die and you have these little postage guys on there. You just got to decide how much of it you want left. I don't think there's a rule. There's no rules, people. All right, I have grabbed here the 3mm dimensional squares. And so this gets popped in here. I kind of like it a little slanted, not terribly. Haven't decided on my sentiment yet, so we'll come back to the sentiment in a moment. Okay, I'm getting a little out of control here, so let's get things back under control. Okay, so now we need to make some decisions here as we come along here with our, what is this called? Our leaf part. Like, do we want the white ones? I thought I had another one here and I'm not seeing it now. Here we go. Do we want the white ones? I loved how this one turned out. See how dark? I was really afraid because this was from the same pattern paper I used here for this tag. I thought that one was just way too dark when I first cut it out. I went ahead and sanded it a little bit just to kind of tone down some of it. But I really love that being in the background. I don't know, sometimes we just, are you like me? Do you feel this? Do you just make something and you're not really completely sure why it works so amazingly? I think I do that a lot, and I'm going to try to decide here if I do want, I think it needs a little color though. So what we could do here in this situation is we could just die cut something else from another pattern, or we can just add some color ourselves. So what do we think here? If we do that, I think I really like it. I think I really like it. So I'm going to actually, for this, I'm going to grab my hot glue gun. If you took my memory decks class, you saw me reaching for that hot glue gun a lot. I'm a fan. And I just put one piece of the square foam adhesive back behind, so that's giving me room to come in here and tuck these guys in here. You can always, I see I squished that one down a little bit farther too. That worked. Make sure you get all your webbings. You can also trim off, of course, your leaves if you need to, if you want to do that. Okay. What's the next thing we're going to do? We have a couple options here. I recently picked up this Prima chipboard stickers, and there are some lovely sentiments on here. And I think I don't hate that. The best season here is what this says. I think that's really pretty. And I might pop it up a little bit with another square. And my square is kind of big for this, which is okay. I'm just going to trim it down a little bit, or use hot glue here as well, or get another size little. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to come back to our rub-ons, and I'm looking for butterflies now. This is always a fun butterfly, whoops, because you can kind of have it like sitting maybe on the leaves. I think this butterfly here is absolutely beautiful. I'm going to trim that out real quick. And then, have you seen my little trick of adding this to vellum and then fancy cutting it out? That is what I'm going to do here next. Okay, I put that little leftover piece of foam to the back of her, and she's going to sit right here. There we go. And lift up the wings a little bit more. Okay, so that's what that looks like so far. And I'm going to look one more time here. I think just for one more little butterfly, I think I'm going to grab this little guy here, and it's going to go to the background tag itself. This could have been added at any time. It could have been added as soon as we had our paper ready to go. I liked kind of waiting here to the end so that I could, I think I want it there, so that I could kind of know exactly where I wanted it. I'm not really measuring exactly where our little postage die cut goes or where the leaves go, so it's kind of a good idea to wait till the end. And that is basically how that card, that tag rather, came together. Grabbing this one here. So see how similar it is, and all it needs now is ribbon on the top. All right, as I start this next tag, I'm using evergreen bough here. I'm just going to come in here along the edges real soft with this inking brush and just go ahead and start laying in some color. I don't want to necessarily go opaque with my color. I want to go real soft. I kind of teach this sort of same idea pretty often, and if you have taken my Memory Decks class, just add this to the repertoire. Just consider this one a little bonus common idea. We're doing this on a tag. Don't let the tag throw you. Any shape, I mean, just grab a 3x4 card and just get these kinds of elements on the medium and enjoy the process of this making. I love this particular stencil. I notice I didn't add any more ink to my brush. It's going to be super subtle on here. Almost, not quite a different shade because of having already just adding the ink to the edges and then just using the residual for the stenciling. So that's in place, and we're just going to completely repeat what we just did. And I'm going to grab my rub-ons here again. I could grab any rub-ons, of course. The idea here for me was to stick with a particular collection just to keep using what's already on my table. And that's why, we have tons of stuff, guys. But I'm sure when you were in the midst of making, that you pull out quite a bit of things on your table. Just keep using them up. That's kind of my teach here. Now I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna add this one in here, and then come back in here with this other one. So carefully, you could turn this all the way off, right? And then just have this one particular piece here. I'm living a little dangerously here. And gosh, man, if I don't love even how simple this looks. So now to make the decision, what am I going to put up here on the top left corner? And I might just do this little bit of the plant here, the leaves. I don't think I'm going to put anything else. So we're really going a lot easier, a lot less, a lot more simplistic. There's the terms. I found them. I'm going to come back in here because I kind of didn't get this little part here. You probably can't even tell. I can tell. All right. Love it. Okay, so what are we doing next? Now I have this one here. The beauty of cutting additional ones out. So glad for that. It's a little bigger. I'm just getting all these little brad-like hangy things out. I might go ahead and go with that. I'm going to go ahead and move this out of the way. It's got a bunch of little paper brads on it, so we're going to move that. Okay, so now more decisions, right? I only have, I think, 2 of these leaves left. And I think this time, the reason I left this out, because I'm like, I think I want to just change up a little bit. Over here, we have everything tucked back behind. I think this time, I'm going to, yep, there it is. I just found it. I'm going to staple everything to the front. Then I will add it with my little square here to the background. So either way works, right? And so we gotta decide how much of our, do we want to go higher? Do we want some of the showing? I'm going to go ahead and layer over it a little bit, but you still have a nice part of it showing there. So I don't feel like I'm completely blocking that, but same but different. Yeah, I love it. Okay, let's keep going. Keep going. And I don't, okay, stop looking at your things, Jamie, because you've already made a decision. Just make a decision, make it work. All right, so now I believe I need a sentiment. I'm grabbing this little Happy Times here. Let's see what I think about that. Okay, I'm gonna grab my 1/8 inch dimensional tape for the back of that, because this little banner piece is kind of small, and I can kind of also move this around so that it doesn't show. So we have our sentiment. Okay, butterflies is the last thing that we need. I might have this one for our sticking up one. And I'm going to grab the square again. The smaller squares would work for this too. I'm just using what I have here. Is that well, all that is about. I'm pretty happy how it looks there. Or yeah, I kind of wanted it to, kind of looks like it's sitting on the top of that, doesn't it? That works for me. All right. That one's good and tiny. And that is how we just use what we have, what's on our table, repeat the process. This was my formula for making these tags. What's so great about using an inspiration that someone else shared with you, it never looks like theirs. I'm pretty sure I could never make what Adrienne makes. I just don't think that would ever work. And I'm okay with that. And we should all be okay with that. We should all be so thankful for the inspiration that's out there. And I am for sure. It's just endless what we can make. And then we should just enjoy so much making it come alive for ourselves. I'm going to add a little piece of the ribbon to this one too. All right, guys, I hope you have some inspiration for making your own tags, and I will see you in the next video.